Welcome to True Echo, where the most powerful stories aren't just told, they echo through your soul. Stories of redemption, of strength, and of poetic justice in the most unexpected places. Today's journey starts with a simple roadside corn stand, and ends with a powerful lesson the world needed to hear. Under the suffocating heat of the Georgia sun, Elena Brown stood on the corner of Peachtree and Harmon, turning corn cobs over glowing coals. The street pulsed with noise, car horns, snatches of music from passing cars, and the shuffle of city feet. But none of it distracted her. Her hands moved with practiced rhythm, flipping, brushing, and seasoning the sweet corn she sold for $3 apiece. It wasn't glamorous. But it was honest. And for Elena, that was enough, for now. She'd once imagined a very different life for herself. Back in high school, she was the girl with the scholarship dreams and textbooks tucked under her arms. She'd graduated top of her class in food science from Georgia State. She had offers, sure, but not the kind that paid rent. And while she sent out resume after resume, silence became her reply. So, she'd stopped waiting and started working. A grill, a stand, and a corner of Atlanta's busiest street became her new office. Across the city, Rachel Whitmore smoothed the collar of her navy blazer and stepped into her luxury sedan. She was on her way to finalize a deal with Bell Foods, a partnership that would catapult her boutique consulting firm into national relevance. Every detail had been planned, her pitch, her appearance, even the cafe she'd suggested for the meeting. Rachel didn't leave anything to chance. That's how she'd gotten this far. That, and knowing how to present power. Their lives had once overlapped in the most intimate ways, two little girls running barefoot through sprinklers, whispering secrets under bleachers, dreaming of changing the world. Salt and pepper, their teachers called them. But somewhere between college applications and corporate jobs, those promises faded. Rachel moved. Texts grew shorter, then stopped. Life took over. Now, as Rachel's car slowed at a red light, her eyes casually scanned the sidewalk. And then they locked onto a face she hadn't seen in years. Sweat on her brow, apron smudged, Elena stood waving cheerfully to passers-by beside a weathered corn cart. For a moment, Rachel blinked in disbelief. That couldn't be, but it was. Elena. Selling corn on the street. The light turned green. Rachel should have kept driving. But something inside, pride, pity, curiosity, made her pull into a parking spot. She stepped out, heels clicking with confidence. As she approached the cart, Elena's eyes widened in surprise and delight. "Rachel," she called out, smiling. "Is that really you?" Rachel didn't return the smile. Instead, she raised her phone and hit record. Well, Rachel said, smirking into her camera as she panned it up and down Elena. "Guess who I just found on the side of the road? Our class president. Miss Honors. Debate queen herself, now selling corn." Elena's smile faltered, the warmth in her eyes dimming but never dying. She didn't move, didn't shield herself. She just stood there, calm and composed, even as pedestrians nearby turned their heads to the scene unfolding. Rachel lowered her phone but not her tone. "I mean, life really comes at you fast, huh? Don't worry, I won't tag you. Wouldn't want people thinking we're still friends." She tossed a crumpled bill onto the cart like she was tipping a busker and turned with a final jab, "Buy yourself something cold. You look like you need it." With that, Rachel strutted back to her car, sunglasses sliding back over her eyes, smug as if she had won something. The bill fluttered to the pavement. Elena didn't pick it up. Across the street, watching silently through the tinted glass of a black SUV, Marcus Bellamy, CEO of Bell Foods, saw the whole thing. He hadn't meant to be there. A last-minute call had caused him to pull over, and while he reviewed a message on his tablet, the sound of Elena's voice, warm, confident, unbothered, caught his attention. He looked up just in time to witness Rachel raise her phone. What he saw next made his stomach turn. She mocked the vendor like she was nothing. But Marcus saw something else, dignity in the face of humiliation, grace in the face of cruelty. And that corn cart. It wasn't just food, it was grit, vision, and resilience made real. By the time Rachel arrived at the Bell Foods high-rise, she had already deleted the video, certain she was in control. She sat confidently in the waiting room, crossed her legs, and replayed in her mind how perfectly everything had gone, until Marcus asked a simple question. "Did you happen to encounter anyone familiar on your way here?" Rachel blinked, caught off guard. "Oh, yeah, actually. An old classmate. Elena Brown. Haven't seen her in years. She was selling corn by the road." Marcus didn't speak. His silence was surgical. Rachel chuckled awkwardly. She used to be brilliant. President, valedictorian, top of our class. Honestly, it was kind of sad to see her like that. Still stuck, I guess. Still, Marcus didn't respond. He only flipped her proposal folder shut and walked toward the window. "Thank you for your time," he said, his tone unreadable. "I'll be in touch by the end of the day." Rachel left feeling unsettled. The meeting had ended too soon. There was no spark, no promise, no handshake that lingered. Just cold professionalism and an eerie silence. That night, she poured a glass of wine and checked her email on repeat. Nothing. Then, just after midnight, a new post appeared on Bell Foods' official Instagram page. "Excited to welcome our newest partner in sustainable sourcing, Elena Brown, founder of Golden Corn. We believe in talent, not titles. True success wears humility." The image beneath was striking. Elena stood beside Marcus, smiling with quiet pride, her corn packaged beautifully in eco-friendly containers, her name in bold across a handcrafted label. Rachel dropped her glass. Elena didn't sleep much the night she got the call. Marcus Bellamy's assistant had spoken in a tone that was both polite and precise, asking if Elena could come to the Bell Foods headquarters the next morning, not for an interview, but for a conversation. Elena had agreed before the woman could even finish the sentence. For a long time afterward, Elena sat alone at her small kitchen table, staring at the screen of her phone. Her fingers trembled slightly. Her thoughts refused to settle. Was this a joke? A trap? No. She remembered the man in the SUV. She remembered how he'd watched, not with disgust or pity, but with interest. It felt real. She didn't tell her parents. Not yet. She didn't want to get their hopes up. Instead, she worked late into the night, scrubbing down her grill until the metal gleamed, cleaning her sneakers until the white fabric shone like new, and pressing her only good blouse until it was crisp and spotless. She repacked her corn basket, this time with care and strategy. A mix of roasted, steamed, and smoked varieties. Wrapped in biodegradable packaging. Labeled with hand-drawn branding. Golden corn, honest taste. Real roots. At 9:48 a.m., Elena stood outside Bell Foods, heart hammering against her ribs. The tower gleamed in the morning sun, all steel and glass and power. She took one breath, then another, and walked through the doors. The receptionist smiled professionally. "Mr. Bellamy will be with you shortly." Inside the waiting room, other candidates sat in designer suits, scrolling through phones, murmuring into Bluetooth earpieces. Elena sat with her basket in her lap and her back straight. No phone. No notes. Just calm, deliberate breaths. She wasn't pretending to be someone else. She had nothing to prove, only something to offer. The office door opened. "Elena," Marcus said. He smiled lightly, his presence warm but commanding. "Come." She followed him into a wide sunlit space. No massive desk, no walls of ego. Just books, plants, and a long wooden table. "Sit," he said, motioning to the seat across from him. "Let's talk." Elena sat. Her palms were damp, but her voice was steady. "I saw what happened yesterday," Marcus said. "Between you and that woman." Elena froze. I didn't think anyone noticed." He nodded. "Most people don't. That's what made it powerful. You didn't lash out. You didn't crumble. You just stood your ground." She swallowed, unsure what to say. Then he gestured toward her basket. "What did you bring?" She opened the lid carefully. 3 varieties. Roasted with a homemade spice rub, steamed with sea salt, and smoked with garlic butter glaze. No preservatives. I source my corn from a co-op 2 counties over, local farmers I've worked with directly. Marcus picked up a cob, peeled back the husk, and took a bite. He chewed slowly, eyes closed for a moment. Then he nodded. "This is good. Not good for street food. Just, good. Period. This tastes like something people remember." Elena's heart expanded. Her chest tightened in the best way. "Thank you." He looked at her. "Where did you study?" "Georgia State. Graduated top of my class in food science and technology." "No one hired you?" She hesitated. "I applied everywhere. Sent resumes, did interviews. But I didn't have connections. No polish. Just credentials." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Let me be clear," he said. "I'm not here to hire you. I'm here to partner with you." Elena's breath hitched. Bell Foods is launching a new line, community-based, locally sourced, honest snacks. We need someone who isn't just a face. We need someone who is the story. You've already built it. You just didn't have the platform." Her lips parted. "You're serious?" "I don't waste time on jokes," he replied. "You'll lead development. You'll train the vendor team. Your name will be on the packaging. Your story, your process, your corn. What do you say?" Tears stung behind Elena's eyes, but she didn't let them fall. She nodded, hand gripping the side of her basket. "I say yes." "Good," Marcus smiled. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. meet the product team. Bring more samples." He stood and extended his hand. Elena rose and took it, gripping firmly. "And Elena," he said, walking her to the door, "don't ever let anyone shame you for standing on a street corner. That corner. That was your foundation." Elena stepped into the sunlight, her basket still full but her heart even fuller. She didn't take the bus. She walked all the way home. Each step was lighter than the last. 3 months later, Elena Brown walked through the front doors of South Grove Market, the largest grocery store on Atlanta's South Side. She wore a simple denim jacket, tan slacks, and flat shoes. No entourage. No makeup. No designer handbag. Just Elena, as she'd always been. But everything else had changed. The shelves were filled with bright displays, but her eyes were trained on one section only. Center aisle. Prime space. There, surrounded by soft golden lighting and stacked in symmetrical rows, sat packages of golden corn, her corn. The wrappers were matte finish with green, biodegradable labeling. On each label, just below the logo, was her signature in clean script, Elena Brown, founder. She stood still for a moment, letting it sink in. The journey that had begun with a dented grill on a noisy street corner had led here. Her corn was now stocked in 37 regional stores, with another dozen under contract. Restaurants had begun calling. Hotel groups too. But she hadn't changed her rhythm, up early, hands in the work, sourcing directly, checking quality herself. Her father's old corner shop had even been renovated into her first official production kitchen. People recognized her sometimes. Mostly at farmers markets or food expos. They never gushed or begged for photos. They simply said things like, "I remember your stand," or I didn't think I liked corn until I tasted yours. That was the real reward. Not the expansion. Not even the interviews or profiles in local business magazines. It was knowing people remembered the taste. The honesty. As she turned the corner to grab a cart, she paused. Near the promotional table at the edge of the bakery section stood a woman in a red apron holding a tray of crackers. Her shoulders were hunched. Her makeup looked caked under the harsh lighting. The heels on her designer shoes were scuffed down to the rubber. She glanced up, eyes sweeping the room cautiously. Her voice was barely audible as she offered samples. Buy one, get one free. Please help me meet my target. Elena's breath caught. Rachel Whitmore. Once the most put-together girl in every room. Once a master of poise, polish, and presence. Now reduced to handing out coupons in the fluorescent haze of a grocery store aisle. Elena's hand tightened on her cart handle. Rachel hadn't noticed her yet. She was too focused on balancing the tray, keeping her posture just enough to look professional. Her eyes flicked up again, and locked with Elena's. Everything stopped. Rachel blinked. Her lips parted, her face twitching with disbelief, then shame. Elena, she whispered, barely above a breath. Elena didn't speak. She didn't smile. She just looked. Looked at the woman who had once thrown a crumpled bill at her feet like she was nothing. Looked at the same girl who used to braid her hair at sleepovers and whisper promises of friendship forever. Rachel swallowed. Her hands clenched around the tray. I'm sorry. Still, Elena said nothing. Rachel's voice cracked. I was wrong. About everything. The video, someone reported it. Clients pulled out. I lost my license. My firm shut down within weeks. This was the only job I could get. Her eyes were glistening now. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed to say it. That I was wrong. There was no one else in the aisle. Just two women, bound by years of friendship, betrayal, and pain. The silence between them was thick. Finally, Elena opened her purse. She pulled out a sleek white business card and held it out. I'm expanding, she said quietly. New distribution line. More staff needed. If you're ready to work, really work, show up at this address on Monday. Rachel looked down at the card. Her hands shook as she took it, as if afraid it might vanish. You'd offer me a job? After everything I did? Elena's expression remained calm. Measured. I don't forget, Rachel. But I also know what it's like to be knocked down when no one's there to help you up. People change. And sometimes the ones who hurt us the most teach us the biggest lessons. Rachel's shoulders sagged as the weight of relief began to wash over her. I'd be honored. Then don't waste it. With that, Elena turned and walked away. She didn't look back. Outside, her driver opened the door of a black SUV. But Elena paused at the entrance, her eyes glancing one last time through the market's glass walls, at the woman who had once mocked her, now clinging to a chance she never expected to get. Inside the store, on the center shelf, her product gleamed under the spotlights. Golden corn, from the roadside to the boardroom. The following Monday morning, the warehouse hum buzzed with new energy. Staff bustled between stacked crates of produce, clipboard checks, and the scent of warm corn lingering from the test kitchen. Elena stood at the front entrance of her newly expanded production facility, formerly her father's old shop, now transformed with polished floors, industrial equipment, and a fresh coat of purpose. She wore her usual, simple, sharp, and clean. Confidence radiated from her without a hint of arrogance. She checked her watch. 9:58. And right on cue, a hesitant knock echoed from the door. Rachel stood outside, clutching a canvas tote. No heels, no high-end coat. Just black flats, slacks, and a blouse that had clearly been ironed and worn with care. Elena opened the door herself. Rachel blinked. You weren't kidding. I don't kid about work, Elena replied calmly. Then she stepped aside. Come on in. Rachel followed, her eyes darting around the space, surprised, maybe even impressed. Elena led her past the tasting lab, the packaging line, and the logistics station, where two staffers waved and nodded. They stopped in a small break room with a coffee machine humming in the corner. You'll be working in distribution support for now, Elena said. Product intake logs, shipment prep, vendor emails. It's not glamorous, but it matters. Rachel nodded, her hands folded tightly in front of her. I'll do whatever needs to be done. Elena studied her for a moment. There was humility there now. Real humility, not the kind that pretends to be meek for approval, but the kind born from being broken and learning how to rebuild. I believe you, Elena said finally. But there's one condition. Rachel raised her eyebrows. You treat every single person in this building with respect. That includes the cleaning staff, the delivery guys, the part-timers, everyone. If I hear anything less, you're out. No exceptions. Rachel nodded without hesitation. Understood. Elena handed her a company badge. Report to Marisol at the back desk. She'll get you started. Rachel accepted the badge like it was made of gold. Thank you, really. Elena gave a nod. Now go earn it. As Rachel walked away, Elena exhaled slowly. Offering her a job hadn't been about pity. It had been about closing a loop. Offering a chance didn't mean forgetting the past, it meant choosing not to be chained to it. And in doing so, she'd turned a cruel memory into a moment of grace. That afternoon, as Elena returned to her office, her assistant poked her head in. Marcus Bellamy is on line 1. Elena picked up the receiver with a grin. Morning, Marcus. His voice came through smooth and steady. Just saw the new shelf display at Midtown Market. Gorgeous work. Thank you, she said. The packaging team's been killing it. There's more, he added. Bell Foods board presentation is locked for Friday. I want you front and center. We're greenlighting the national rollout of golden corn. Elena blinked. National? You earned it, Marcus said. But I'll need you to prep a pitch for press. Tell your story, your voice, not ours. You're the brand. Her voice cracked just slightly. You really believe in it that much? I believe in you that much. Elena's heart swelled. Then let's feed the country. As she hung up, her eyes flicked to the framed photo on her desk, an old picture of her teenage self and Rachel on the porch of her childhood home, both grinning, arms slung around each other, untouched by pride or pain. She smiled softly. Then she turned her attention to a fresh batch of product notes. This was only the beginning. The boardroom at Bell Foods headquarters had seen its share of high-stakes presentations, but never one quite like this. Elena stood at the front, calm but alert, wearing a slate-gray dress that flowed with her every movement. Behind her, a wide screen displayed an image of a single roasted corn cob, golden and glistening, with her company name below it, Golden Corn, Honest Taste. Real Roots. Around the long table sat 12 members of the Bell Foods board, men and women with decades in branding, finance, and food distribution. And yet, as Elena began to speak, the room quieted in a way that few boardrooms ever did. It was not her pitch that commanded attention, it was her presence. I started with a grill and a street corner, she said plainly. No funding. No staff. Just one product, my own 2 hands, and a belief that people still wanted food that was real, made with care, sourced from people you could look in the eye. She clicked to the next slide, images of her early stand, the corner of Peachtree and Harmon, the hand-lettered signs, and customers laughing as they ate. I didn't do this to prove anything, she continued. I did it because no one would give me a chance. So I made my own. She shared her background: honors graduate, rejected by every major company, not because of lack of talent, but because of lack of polish. No name. No network. No image. And then she smiled gently, letting that pause breathe. And now, that image is on 37 store shelves, with reorders climbing 28% each quarter. She turned back to the table. Golden corn isn't just a product. It's a message. That talent doesn't always wear a suit. That resilience doesn't always speak loud. And that food, like people, isn't meant to be packaged in one perfect mold. There was silence. Then a slow ripple of nods. Marcus Bellamy leaned back, a faint smile on his lips. One board member, a woman with icy gray hair and sharp cheekbones, leaned forward. And what happens if this scales? If you're no longer the one roasting the corn? Elena nodded. Then I'll train people who believe in the same values. People like me, who haven't been seen yet, but are ready. This isn't just my story. It's theirs too. The vote was unanimous. National rollout, approved. As the meeting adjourned, Marcus walked beside her down the hallway. You crushed it, he said. Elena exhaled, adrenaline still rushing. I've never spoken in front of that many executives before. You didn't speak to them, Marcus corrected. You showed them. That's different. He paused outside the elevator. The national campaign starts next quarter. Press tour. TV spots. Maybe even a documentary angle. You ready? Elena grinned. I was born ready. I just didn't have the mic until now. That night, she celebrated not with champagne or a gala, but in her parents' kitchen. Her mother baked cornbread. Her father made sweet tea. And in the comfort of that tiny, familiar kitchen, Elena told them everything: the offer, the vote, the expansion. Her mother teared up. Her father didn't speak. He just nodded and gave her a long, proud hug. At the end of the night, Elena sat on the porch with a bowl of leftover roasted corn in her lap, watching the moonlight dance on the sidewalk. The same sidewalk where she and Rachel used to ride bikes, where they whispered secrets and swore they'd make it out. She didn't know what the future held. But she knew this: her roots were her wings. And she was ready to fly. A year later, Elena Brown stood beneath the towering lights of the National Food Innovation Expo in Chicago. Her booth, modest yet elegant, featured a clean wooden backdrop, a golden corn logo engraved into it, and baskets overflowing with her signature roasted corn, now vacuum-sealed for freshness and distributed coast to coast. She had just stepped off stage from a panel titled, From Hustle to Harvest, Building Food Empires from the Ground Up, where her remarks about resilience and identity had drawn a standing ovation. But none of it had gone to her head. Fame, she had learned, could vanish as quickly as it appeared. But authenticity? That stayed rooted. As she adjusted a display tray, a soft, familiar voice called her name. Elena? She turned. Rachel stood a few steps away, dressed in a golden corn polo shirt and dark jeans, hair pulled back neatly, a name badge clipped to her belt. Her eyes were steadier now. Not confident in the performative way she once was, but grounded. She held a clipboard and a headset, working logistics with the shipping crew. Your shipment for the Denver market just confirmed, Rachel said. 12 pallets. ETA in 3 days. Elena smiled. Great work. Rachel lingered, then added, thank you again. For this chance. I don't think I ever told you, working here, saved me. Elena nodded. You've earned your place. I don't hand those out. Rachel lowered her eyes, humbled. Still. I used to think success was about stepping over people. Now I see, it's about who you bring with you. A silence passed between them. Not heavy. Not painful. Just honest. I've been thinking, Rachel added, her voice lighter now. You remember that promise we made? That we'd change the world? Elena's eyes sparkled. Yeah. Under the bleachers. The night we skipped class and shared that vending machine sandwich. Exactly. Rachel laughed. We were so broke. Well, Elena said, picking up a package of corn, maybe we didn't change the whole world, but we're feeding it. They both smiled. Then turned, Rachel to the back table to organize stock, Elena to greet a line of expo guests eager to try golden corn. But something had shifted. Not just in their work. In them. Later that week, a billboard in Times Square flashed brightly. Golden corn. From the roadside to every table in America. Founded by Elena Brown. The caption underneath read. Talent doesn't need permission. It just needs a place to grow. Elena saw the photo online and saved it to her phone, but she didn't post it. She didn't need to. She already knew the truth, the most powerful victories are quiet. The ones that grow from dignity, not revenge. Grace, not spectacle. And the best part? She was just getting started. At True Echo, we bring you stories that don't just inspire, they leave a mark. Elena Brown's journey reminds us that success isn't always about loud victories. Sometimes, it's about quiet roots, honest labor, and the courage to rise without crushing others. As Elena once said, people change. And sometimes, the people who hurt us the most teach us the biggest lessons. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of truth, growth, and redemption.